Hi, everyone. We are Group One. I'm Kate. We've got Michael, James, Jake, David, and Danita on with us as well. And we did our best practices program on a company called OIA Global. So when we started talking about this at the beginning of term, we all had a general overall interest in exploring 3PLs and their overall effect on logistics. So we reached out to a local company called OIA Global, and we were able to sit down with their executive VP, Dante Fornari, and their SVP of packaging, Mark Belevqua. They were able to answer questions and chat with us about high levels of competition in their markets, increasing of online shopping, and then the overall importance of differentiation as well. So OIA is very different from their competitors as they offer a very unique, high-touch customer service while encouraging radical innovation. So they handled this level of extreme competition in their marketplace by creating their own niche, where they work with the packaging, your CSR, your sourcing materials, all the way to the very end of your client's own personal customers. So to give you a little bit more background on the company, I'm going to hand it over to James.
Thank you, Kate. Yeah, OIA Global. It was founded in 1988 as Oregon International Air Freight in Portland, Oregon. Since the beginning, they've really expanded their capabilities for a global reach, and they began as strictly an expedite air transporter for perishables from the United States to Asia. They transitioned to managing a large footwear manufacturer here in Oregon. From there, they really began bolstering their service to meet the changing demand of their clients' needs. They began custom brokerage, ocean freight, forwarding, and warehousing and distribution. In 2005 was their major addition when they began offering their creative packaging solutions team. This team provided huge costs in savings to their clients through retail and transit packaging and material source servicing. This included source optimization, price management, order management, source management, color management, claims management, and they've even taken over the quality, compliance, and even some sustainability services. With a growing number of added value services and the capacity to service their clients throughout the supply chain from the front end to the back end, the OIA global executives that we personally met with were pretty about the future. And to tell you more about that and the environment that they're facing, I'm going to hand this off to Jacob for the challenge statement.
Thank you, James. The challenge statement that OIA Global had was how to differentiate themselves amongst all of the third-party logistics providers that are operating in the global space. The 3PL space is heavily commoditized. There's a lot of companies that provide the traditional logistics services that 3PLs provide, everything from warehousing, freight forwarding, transportation, distribution. These typical services, OIA Global had to find a way to differentiate themselves from the rest of the pack. They did this three ways. First, by optimization, which James talked about, as well as new product introduction. They're continuously innovating. And the third option that they use is acquisition. And they've acquired companies very carefully to support their mission. For product optimization, they place a heavy emphasis on reducing transportation costs by optimizing storage space and packaging. And we were able to watch a video, Mark and Dante, one of OIA Global's products, where they changed the packaging for a soccer ball for one of their customers. And not only enhanced the brand that they were looking at, but it also reduced space, and it helped them optimize the space, which helped reduce transportation costs. The acquisitions, we also saw one of their examples was a company that they acquired last month. They announced the acquisition for, and that company allowed them to expand into the Canadian market where they didn't have a strong footprint. So these three different areas is how OIA Global is able to differentiate themselves from other third-party logistics providers, and it has allowed them to grow from a $300 million company in 2010 to a $1.2 billion company today. I'm going to now hand it over to Danita, who will talk about the market analysis and the competition.
Yeah, good deal. Thanks, thanks, Jake. So in terms of the market analysis and competition, OIA being a third-party logistics and packaging service provider, their major competitors, or their top 5 major competitors, are Expeditors International, which has estimated revenue of $6.6 billion with a headcount of 15,000. OEC Group, 150 million, 750 headcount. American Cargo Express, which is now an OIA company, recently acquired by OIA. They were formerly $43 million with 380 headcount, and then a couple of others in that top 5. So it's a pretty dense market in terms of competitors. In particular with the air freight forwarding business, OIA ranks 37th with about 44,000 metric tons of air freight annually. So to give you some perspective of that, the top 5 competitors, DHL, Cooney, DB Schenker, UPS Supply Chain Solutions, all have in excess of 900,000 air freight metric tons each year. So a pretty significant amount of market share there. In terms of the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, OIA strengths are in the domestic market, particularly in the US and Europe. High profitability and revenue, it's another one of their strengths. High growth rates, so there's tremendous upward opportunity for them in that area. Barriers of market entry, even though there are significant customers or competitors in this space, there continue to be some barriers of entry for the air freight forwarding business, and then experienced business units with the competitive and saturated market. So it's particularly a weakness. So while on one hand there's barriers of market entry, there still are a significant number of players in this space. In terms of opportunities, constantly increasing income level, really good strength in terms of the growth opportunity. There's some opportunities there that OIA needs to consider: growing demand, growing economy, and venture capital. These are going to be some things that they'll need to address and look out for going forward. In terms of threats, your typical threats in this space to technology, increasing costs, government regulations. We've read a significant amount about that throughout the term. Increasing rates of interest, price changes, external business risks, financial capacity, and growing competition, which kind of lowers the profitability that's available there. In terms of the industry growth rate, it's about 9%, and OIA's profitability and market trends are upward. Whereas its outlook is pretty steady, not necessarily a tremendous amount of growth, but they do have some opportunity there to improve and gain some market share. So I'll turn it over to James for the TAM analysis.
Yeah, thank you. Good job. So I'll just take it from there. As Danita had discussed, there are some interesting barriers. Now, I wouldn't say it is saturated, but over the last 20 years, the market has been consolidation as companies look for infrastructures that can provide services throughout the expanding and complex global marketplace. Essentially, 5 or 26, I investigated the top 3PLs that really are dominant in the market, but that doesn't smaller national freight forwarding companies from competing still. Now, although the industry growth rate is about 9, there is about a 4.4% growth rate for 3PLs outsourcing. That has been picking up speed as large companies are generally jumping on the bandwagon to focus on their core competencies, and they're outsourcing their operations and logistics. So strategic consolidation like OIA did with American Cargo Express to open up different markets that were a little bit unavailable, their footprint wasn't large enough to service these large companies, is a strategic move that will help them gain market share. So making the TAM analysis, which is actually the total addressable market, it's a good way to really just see the potential scale of the market, where you just use the reference of the revenues in the industry. So taking the top 25 companies, which do range between, I feel OII should have been there, but Excel, Schechner, DHL, companies with large infrastructures that are servicing large clients in the automotive industry is a big one, pharmaceutical, and apparel and footwear. But for my calculations, which is assuming a 1% growth, based on OII's successful strategic acquisitions up until this point, they should be able to capture 1% of that 80 million of revenues for 2017. And they were at 1.1 in 2016, so I think that comes into about 1.8. So the future is bright if OII is able to continue to build on their added services. So I'm going to hand this off to David.
Thanks, James. OIA Global Logistics has built a seamless suite of services that intricately woven to create a full supply chain menu of solutions. That is what we talked about, brought them up to the $1.1 billion today, which is in a highly rigid, mature, and full business space. But how did they get there? From the origination of their founder Yoshida, when he had this dealing with his own products and he got this don't care attitude from many of the freight forwarders he had worked with, this led for him and Steve Aker to start building out opportunities going into Asia. And because of that attention to quality, that attention to the customer, allowed for Nike to approach them and let them take on a trial project with the air soles and gave them that test market, and they succeeded greatly. The key factor is what allowed them to gain this footing in such a competitive share marketplace, and that was a focus and total dedication to being customer centric, and that including that any one of the operative managers of anyone at OI is 365 24/7, and that means get the project done and whatever that client needs, that has to be taken care of in those issues. And this goes back to Yoshida working in the fish, bringing over seafood over to Asia and watching a bunch of his product just die in the warehouses. Today, OIA Global Corporation provides services across the board, as we know, from freight forwarding all the way to packaging solutions and analytics. And what this has allowed them to do is navigate what they call that shark tank, where Kuehne + Nagel and your big shipping logistics can only provide one type of service provider, which is logistics. At the same time, a major players like International Paper cannot come through and actually, they can provide the raw product for the outer carded packaging, but they have no way to substantiate that into actual combined solutions that would offer substantial savings. So this is where OIA has really kind of seen this opportunity in combining the two, and then putting on a core third element of analytics where they can actually drive costs and show that cost in terms of a meaning way to the shareholder and the C-suite of bringing value and a numerical value. What that's allowed is for OIA from a competitor standpoint to outflank, whether it's on the logistics side, the paperboard, cardboard, and really grown up to that billion, and should allow them to go sailing smoothly towards the future. And from here, Michael, I'll let you go into the next segment.
Great, thanks, David. When we were discussing with the VPs at OIA about their business and opportunities, one area that not only we were interested in, but also the company themselves, was the packaging. The reason for this is the opportunity is substantial out there. And one reason due to this is just the marketplace and the retail environment. For instance, the majority of shoppers now, it's surpassed 51%, are now doing their shopping online, and this is only increasing. So what entails with that, as sales continue to increase online, returns in turn are increasing as well. And there's some data out there that is saying up to 30% of more of all products bought online is being returned. So what this does is OIA is really looking at all touch points with their customers and how they can create value and gain not only market share, but more customers, is to be inventive with packaging. They've already made a lot of headways and created some big savings for their customers. But with return packaging, for instance, this is one area that we believe would pay large dividends for OIA. Another reason why return packaging, and if you want to think about reverse logistics, would create so many dividends for them down the road is 92% of customers say that they will buy again from a company if returns are seamless and easy. So when you look at packaging, create and offer your customer a packaging that can be used for returns, this is more or less a seamless one-stop shop in the closing the loop with your customers on returning the goods. It speeds up returns. It allows the company to analyze their inventory once they've received it, and hopefully turn that back out the door again, which helps to increase sales. So the packaging with returns is massive, and we feel that this is one area that would help OIA continue to differentiate themselves from their competitors. Another area is along the lines of smart and interactive packaging. And this was even mentioned during our interview of something that they've thought about, but the more that we looked into it, it makes a lot of sense for them to continue to invest and collaborate with their customers on interactive packaging. An example of this would be smart barcodes that are included on the packaging. And when a customer receives their product that they purchased online, they can easily scan a barcode, and on your smartphone would bring up product details, specs, and give you a little bit more information about the product that you purchased. This helps also kind of help the customer feel closer to the product, and may decrease the chance of the product being returned, as they have instant gratification again with this product that they're holding. So those are two areas that we feel that would help OIA in the future continue to increase their sales and grow their market share. So we'll pass it on to Kate.
Thanks, Michael. So we hope we were able to give you guys a stronger understanding of the market that OIA has created with their suite logistics offerings, keeping them just one step ahead of their competitors, offering their clients a real new opportunity for innovative change. and showing how their ability to utilize their skills in the optimization of an organic supply chain, new product innovation relating to materials and packaging, and then as well as acquisitions to increase their global footprint. This has really allowed them the space for the creativity needed to just continue their success and thrive in the market that they've created. So we all had a really great time interviewing OIA. We really hope you guys enjoyed our presentation. Please let us know in the comments if you have any questions. We would love to address them. Thanks so much for your time, guys.